One more in my mouth. Oh.
Nope.
Village of Royal Palm Beach Soccer Board meeting, September 17th, 2019.
Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America,
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Call to order, 6:30 p.m. Vanessa Donadio.
Here.
Corinne Corbacero.
Here.
Sean O'Connor.
Here.
Village Liaison Cheryl Sawyer.
Here.
And Village Representative Steve Pointer.
Here.
Missing currently are Treasurer Amy Santiago and Board Member Fernando Casale. They will be joining us shortly, as will hopefully be our Registrar and Referee Assigner, Shinoy Ragaraj. Reading and approval of previous month's meeting minutes. I know Corinne had sent those out earlier. Did everybody have an opportunity to take a look at them?
Yes.
Anybody you'd like to accept those?
A motion to accept the meeting minutes from July and August.
Can I second that since I wrote them?
No, you can't.
All right,
I second that.
all righty, and no objections, we will accept and approve the previous 2 months' minutes. And we will move forward to the President's report. Fall season, start off, we're 2 weeks into the fall season, 1 week of games already in. We very fortunate with the weather. The numbers were a little down this season. And we'd like to think that we can attribute that to some various things that, so at least we're aware of why we believe our numbers are down. So we are very confident that those numbers will bounce right back up again next season. Did anybody happen to have any complaints or anything during the first week of games?
Okay, I got two things. One is the U10 girls division. It's only 7 players on 2 of the teams, and they're supposed to play 7v7.
All right.
Do we want to knock it down to 6v6?
That would be fine with me if everybody's good with that.
Fine by me.
Good?
I'm good with it.
Okay, then, all right, I'll email the coaches. They were going to go to 6v6. And the other one was the U8 girls. One team, Coach Alba, had 5 players, and they play 4v4, and then one didn't show up on Saturday. I've already registered 1 girl last night, and then 2 more are supposed to register today, so he's going to be up to 8. So that division should be good. Otherwise, every other division's good.
All right. A lot of lopsided scores in the younger age groups, and hopefully that kind of balances itself out as we move forward. Treasurer's report.
She's not here yet.
When we will shelve that for a little later on. DOC report. Again, nothing really to speak with regarding the recreation program. And the registrar and referee report, we'll also shelf that until our registrar and referee assigner is here. Open comments for membership regarding the recreation program. All right, nothing out there? All righty.
Was the uniform issue? That was.
Wait, oh, no, I thought I saw someone raise their hand.
Score messed up the order for the uniforms.
Oh, yeah, there's one little problem with the uniforms. When I ordered each team, it comes in from 2 through whatever's on the team. And then for every color that I ordered, all 7 colors, I ordered some extra. And I asked for those numbered to be from 20 to 30. So I can just put them on any team I need. And two of the sets that they did were 2 through 10. So they're useless. I emailed them and they said they were going to exchange them. So right now we have duplicate numbers with some of the kids.
All righty. And great job, by the way, ordering the uniforms. I don't know if you guys know how dead on he was with ordering them. I mean,
only short one Saturday.
Yeah,
Now
pretty
we added some
impressive.
kids, so.
Start the season with only 1 short uniform. That's good stuff.
Thank you.
Unfinished business. Well, just a reminder to everybody, no use of fields to those outside the program, since we are the individuals that are permitting the fields. So please keep that in mind, and just let's try to enforce that and police that the best that we can. Mercy rule clarification. Just wanted to, we've bounced back and forth so many times. I just wanted to get a clarification, and correct me if I'm wrong on this. 8-goal differential is a mercy rule. Game stops if it's after halftime, so it's just like the normal competitive rules.
Correct.
So no forfeits are associated with it or anything of that nature. All right.
But we did say, and you put it in the coach's manual, that there could possibly be a suspension of the coach.
Suspension to the coach.
If they continue this
Correct.
behavior.
All righty. Sandbags and benches and canopies, I was gonna ask the village. I know, Sean, you requested the sandbags, correct? Mm-hmm. All righty, and the benches and the canopies, I know the canopies were taken down for the hurricane, or the threat of the hurricane.
I put all those requests in yesterday. They said the sandbags and the benches they're gonna get on right away, starting yesterday.
All right.
They said the canopies they'll get to it as soon as they can, so they're still behind a lot because of the hurricane. So.
All right, I didn't know if you guys just were gonna leave them off, just cause it's hurricane season, so you don't have to redo, no, I mean,
Yeah,
you know, that's, instead of having to take them on and off, or,
They're gonna be putting it back up.
all right, because it was brutal out there this weekend. I mean, it's, yeah, and I
Yeah,
didn't
the
really
poor
think.
parents, not the kids. You know, with no
I didn't think it really did much, those things, but boy, without them, it was even more horrible. Also, I put a number down on the agenda, if you guys can jot that down. Anything that needs unlocking. So I'm assuming that would be benches or bathrooms, or the gate. That's the number that we would call,
We
and
do have a
somebody
spare
would come out
set.
that.
We have a spare key for the gate and the bathrooms in the concession stand.
Well, technically, it's in my tool bag, but yeah.
It will be in the concession
All
stand.
right, but just so that you guys would have this, you know, if myself or Sean aren't at the fields or not available.
But the extra bathroom key is in the concession stand on the lanyard. That's where we keep the extra bathroom key, just in case somebody
And
messes
did
up.
anybody find that stick or no?
No, we haven't found the stick.
No?
What you got, Saturday when I was setting up, first thing in the morning, I couldn't find the lanyard with the keys on it. And I sent a panic text out to everybody, who took the keys? And they were in my tool bag. So, at home. I took the keys.
Way to be on top
Who's
of
the
it,
idiot that took the
Sean.
keys? Yeah, you know. Let's focus on what I do well now. Get back to that uniform thing.
Uniform.
All right. New business. We've had for the last couple of seasons, we've had a goalkeeper trainer with our club, and wanted to try something a little different this year. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to be bringing in another goalkeeper trainer that will be solely for the competitive program, while our normal goalkeeper trainer will be the goalkeeper training for the rec program.
When is rec gonna have theirs?
It'll be starting next week. And
What
I'll
days do you
put
know?
something out. It'll
Oh,
be
you're gonna email? Okay.
Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So Tuesdays and Wednesdays, 6 o'clock will be the recreation goalkeeper training.
Where are you
And
gonna,
on Tuesdays and Thursdays will be at 6 o'clock, will be the competitive.
is he just gonna go in
goalkeeper
that spot right there by field 5?
Possibly. I know when I did the schedules out, I kind of designated something as a goalkeeping area, but I don't believe it falls on all of the days, so we might just have to do that. Can we do something, maybe have a constant designated area where the goal is always accessible for the goalkeeping
I'll
training?
have to look at that and figure out a spot.
Because now we'd have to do it in 2 areas, basically. One for the rec and one for the competitive.
Yikes.
Yeah, and the way that I worked it out with the competitive goalkeeper I just worked some things out with the competitive goalkeeper trainer, and we're gonna give it a shot and see how it works out.
Can you tell me the days
former,
and times again, please? I'm sorry.
competitive goalkeeping training will be 6 to 7:30 Tuesday, Thursday. And, the recreation goalkeeping training will be Tuesday and Wednesday. 6 to, does he go an hour or an hour and a half?
Hour.
Is he an hour?
I mean, I don't know
All
if
right,
it's
for
changed.
rec. Well, that probably would make more sense for the rec anyway, since they're hour slotted, for the practice sessions.
So rec will be what time?
6 o'clock to 7 o'clock.
Both will be 6,
Yeah.
but one will run till
The
7:30.
competitive will be 7:30, yes.
Okay.
And that was Tuesday.
All right, and then I was going to ask Corinne if you can just give us just a quick, how we're looking with sponsors or for the recreation program at this time.
For rec, all we have is what we have on a yearly. We haven't gotten any new ones as
Right.
of yet. Applebee's, I've been in touch with. I emailed the girl last week because she had emailed me over the summer to sponsor, and she hasn't gotten back to me yet. When I emailed her last week, she was on vacation. So she'll be back Wednesday, so I'll follow back up with her. I do want to approach a bunch of businesses in the area, especially the new ones in the area, to get them out there and see if they're interested in sponsorship. So I know Ally a long time ago had a pamphlet, so I have to see if maybe I can update that and just walk around and just show them to see what's visible and how many people will be on the fields and the potential
And-
for
and-
the advertising.
What is everybody's thought about like how we used to have like sponsor days? Is that too much?
No, we
Just
can do
like,
that.
yeah, one day, because we have had the sponsors come and ask us, like, if they can set up a table. I think doing it just a day wherever they choose, I think it's too much of a commotion, where it blocks people, or, I like to have one designated day for
Plus, then
everybody.
people know to come look.
Yeah,
If it's just one tent sitting over there on the field, nobody's gonna,
Mm-hmm.
but if we have it on October 5th, we can just tell everybody, come check out our sponsor tents and,
yeah.
I think one day would be better. We just pick a date.
All right, so,
Good one would, I'll look at the schedule, but the good one would probably be the weekend you have that state game at, I think it's October 5th. You have a game at like 9 o'clock for that field, and then our U19s play afterwards. But I can look at the
all right,
schedule.
all right.
That'll be a longer day for them and a lot more people.
October 5th is, I think, when we have more games competitive.
Yeah, we have a bunch of competitive games that day
All
too.
right, good.
There's a lot of competitive games and
Were
a
you-
full rec
Were
schedule.
you gonna do the second set of pictures day
That's
that
only gonna
time?
affect 3 teams that day.
Okay, well, I'm saying that
Yeah.
if they wanna put a booth out too for the pictures,
Sure.
and they can do that as well.
Okay, we can talk to Payne about that. So you
Yeah.
wanna do October 5th then?
Yeah,
Okay,
We have 5 games that day.
for competitive. So that's it with the full slate of rec, so it's pretty good.
9 o'clock game is my U17 game.
Yeah, 9 o'clock, okay, that's that state league.
Yes, Sue?
Miami
Okay,
Rush.
all righty, Sean?
Oh,
Did you do my
Oh,
numbers?
yeah, we can't, no, I'm sorry.
treasurer's
You
report.
skip right over
Both
me.
both
How dare
Fernando
you?
Casale and Amy Santiago are now present. Amy, if you'd like to go over the treasurer's report.
Okay, so recreational checking started at $20,071.69, ended with $27,281.12. The savings started with $30,154.25, ended with $30,155.79.
motion to accept the checking account balance for the rec program, $27,281.12. Savings account ending balance, this is for August, $30,155.79.
Second.
Any opposed? All in favor?
Yeah.
All righty,
Can I
we
say
will.
something quick? I'm sorry, not to belabor this, but, so, as you guys saw, we got a new fridge for the concession. I have also bought an iPad and the square stand to use as our new, register, whatever.
Cash register.
Cash register, I guess, or whatever. I may get a new cash drawer, we'll see, one thing at a time, but I've already got that set up and it's, you just use the Square app that we've already been using, and it's just, it's a bigger screen. I've already started was working on that last night, adding a whole bunch of things in there.
Way over my
No.
head, way over my head.
No, it's cool. And I talked to the IT guy at the village, and they said, hopefully in the next like 2-3 weeks, there will be Wi-Fi access.
Wow.
Randy called me, I said, can you please call me when that's done? I said, so maybe by the end of September? He said, maybe. But, so,
Because we're opening up hotspots right now, right, to access. the
we
internet?
will have to, yeah. So, fun stuff.
Cool, it's like you guys are speaking another language, that's kinda cool.
So you can pay with credit card, you
Welcome
can
to the
swipe,
90s,
tap,
Mel. Boss
dip,
and apps
everything. Take cash, all that stuff, everything. So there you go.
So we can technically do registrations on there too, right? If we have to, or no, it's probably better just to use our phones in the square.
No, it's the same thing. It's the same thing I did with, like, I would just put a note in there of what it is.
Yeah.
So I don't have the item, in there, but yeah.
Alrighty, Sean.
All right, motion to adjourn at 6:45 PM.
I second that.
Alrighty, nobody opposed, so we will adjourn the recreation portion of the board meeting at 6:45 and call to order the competitive portion at 6:45. President's report, nothing. Treasurer's report, Amy?
Oh, look, I'm up again. Okay. Competitive checking started with $26,086.34, ended with $38,589.81. Although I just made a payment for competitive uniforms that will drastically reduce that balance. The competitive savings started with $10,015.76, ended with $10,016.27, and the stipend started at $1,374 even, and it ended with $374 even.
Motion to accept the competitive checking account balance in August at $38,589.81, savings account balance at $10,016.27, and the stipend account at $374.
Second.
All in favor? Anybody opposed? Alrighty, we will accept and approve the treasurer's report for August, for the competitive portion of the program. DOC report. We are currently beginning full swing of the competitive season. All of our teams are participating in one league or the other. We have, I believe, 8 teams in the, we have 7 teams in the Palm Beach League early season, 1 team in the Florida Premier League, another team in the Florida Competitive League, and another team in the Florida Futures League. I just recently, 2 or 3 days ago, registered all of the teams into the South Florida League for the regular season. And the South Florida season will be running from early November to probably the first week of February. So between that regular season and teams sprinkling in some tournaments during that time period, all of the kids and teams should be busy. No, that's about it there. And we're gonna push past the registrar and referee portion and the league portion, because I kind of just touched upon that now. Open comments from membership regarding the competitive program. Anyone?
Wait a minute, this is our biggest, this is the biggest crowd of 2019. I didn't think we could seat all of them, actually.
I have something for sponsors for them, for players that can't play because of the money issues. I had a couple of ideas that I wanted to swing by to see if it was possible to do. I can approach businesses to see if they were interested in sponsoring a comp player for their own. If they had interest, I could send the comp player to that business to talk, to see if they can get it for themselves, or if I can obtain the sponsorship for the comp myself and then have them complete a form, where they financial hardship form,
Need-based.
a need-based, where if they, request it and if it's a good enough reason, then we can offer like these sponsors to those players that are having a hard time.
The only way that hardship thing would work is, getting tax returns and things like that, because everybody's gonna lie. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, woe is me. Yeah,
Right.
Come on. So unless it was some type of a legitimate process, I think that would bring more trouble on us than anything, because then we would be accused of favoring certain kids or providing help to certain kids,
Yeah.
as opposed to just saying, well, this is the process that we have. It has to be a very formal process if you're dealing with money like that.
Okay.
As far as the sponsorship idea, though, if that's a great idea. If there's any local businesses, instead of sponsoring the program, would like to sponsor, a child in need, and maybe not a specific child in need, but would you like to sponsor any of the kids in our program that are in need? And then we can kind of, in that sense, and we can kind of spread it around as we feel needed, because then we're not as inclined to put it where it's not like we're favoring
Yeah, not
somebody.
favoritism to any
It's not like a
particular-
lottery choice, we're picking one person, you know what I mean? It's so, yeah, if you wanna head that up, that'd be awesome.
Okay. All right.
Alrighty. Yes, Miss,
Yeah,
if
come
you
up here,
can
one.
come up here and state your name and your nickname, if you don't mind.
And leave some fingerprints too.
And your age and your,
Social security number's
Hello.
not necessary.
My name is Brenda Barreca, aka Sandra.
Sandra Barreca, all right.
Sandra Barreca, if you're Mal. Corinne, concerning sponsorships, the form you give us really just has prices. Is there like a letter explaining exactly in detail like what it means to sponsor a club, like, an enticement letter for businesses, because we all go into businesses, restaurants, stores. I would love to be able to go to like a Publix, or, I know that's private and manager done. You have to go to the manager. Same with most pizza shops. But for players that are new to our competitive team, I've never been given a specific letter besides the actual like denomination amounts.
Yeah,
If I can, Corinne, Miss Barreca arrived a little late, so.
I'm so sorry. Did you already cover
She did
that?
miss some of that information.
I am
That was
so
the rec-
sorry.
Yeah, but that was the rec portion, we discussed it in.
Okay, sorry.
No, that's okay.
I was at the
I'll go
rec
over it again.
practice field.
We had a packet a few years ago
Okay.
to present to companies, so I'm gonna update that and then I'll distribute it. Make sure it gets through. I have the link to distribute to all the managers so that they have that. And then for anybody else that might be interested in it too. So
Okay.
I'll bring it with me when I approach businesses for sponsorships, and said it shows how many kids are playing, what the potential is for how many people are gonna be viewing it, and it'll have all that information in there, so,
Okay. All right.
yeah.
All right, thank
It's a
you.
pretty cool little, it's actually a pretty
a
cool little,
PowerPoint.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
presentation.
PowerPoint,
Gives the percentage of people that come in and out of the field and what
I
that
think
would
it's good
do
for
in
big
money.
businesses just to see more than just a spreadsheet with numbers, especially when I was trying to explain it to my team this year with a lot of new players taking those forms. They were really quite confused between like sponsoring a whole team, an individual team, because some of them own businesses themselves. And I know they were looking at the tax deduction more than anything, but still like more explanation besides just from me is
Right.
always good. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandra. Alrighty, unfinished business. Seminole Field number 9. We are currently trying to do something, working something a little bit with the numbers and trying to be as cost efficient as possible this season. And normally where we would be utilizing Seminole Field number 9, Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday and Friday. We're only using it Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday this season, and then we're gonna kind of readdress it at the beginning of the year. I've spoken with Steve about that. it's just very difficult with the slots and the days, trying to get a very smooth practice session schedule down. And so I'm doing my best with that. Player registration, paperwork, and teams, Vanessa, if you can kind of get us up to speed with that. I know I had spoken with Vanessa earlier today, and I asked her if she can just, make it nice and easy for me and prepare something for me where everything is right in front of me. And I saw that you forwarded that to me today. I appreciate that. Which leads into the next thing, which is the whole payment process and everything. Just a quick update on that and the status and your thoughts. And I also spoke to Corinne a little bit. So about, was that you? No, that was you today, about the other option?
Yeah.
That was, okay, I didn't speak to Corinne, I'm sorry. You both look like the same person to me. All right, but if you can just kind of go over that and just get everybody up to speed.
As far as the player registration paperwork and the teams, all rosters are now complete. U12 was the only one left, other than I did have to send an email to Jill to update the frozen roster because they're in the FSFL league, and that roster is still showing those 4 players that are no longer with the competitive team. Other than that, everything else is done. Everybody's registered for the Gardens tournament, as far as I know. They're all in their leagues. Games have already started. All of the referee checks have been distributed to all the managers. Everybody's got all of their stuff ready. Field marshal, pennies, everything. As far as the payment process, as far as I know, like with the 2 teams that I have, it's very minimal, the amount of people that want to use the GOT Soccer to put their credit card information in to make those payments. They feel more comfortable to either give me their credit card to run through the scan, the little square thing, or to pay by check or cash. They have asked me many times if I do Zelle or, like a PayPal or anything like that. I had told them all that have approached me that there was things that I wanted to work on, which really, when we were in the AGM meeting, we met with Team Snap. I know that most of our competitive and our recreational teams are using it because recreational part, they have a free app that you don't have to update, which on the rec side is great because those extra updated features, they really won't use. The competitive side will use it much more. As far as scheduling, payments, invoicing, being able to keep track of each person, what they owe, what's outstanding. A lot of my parents just from last year, because Team Snap had made an update from classic payments to now this WePay, which I did complain about when I was there. It's not as user-friendly as it was, and it's very hard for the parent to realize exactly how much they owe, what they've paid throughout the season, where last season they were able to see absolutely everything all the way down to the very penny. So if they want to use it as far as for credit for their child, they can say, okay, this was something that I paid for a competitive league, and this was the total amount I paid, without having to bother anybody. So I did get in touch with Team Snap. I have been back and forth with them. Each team right now paid, like myself, I paid $100 for each of my teams out of my pocket. I do know Corinne has also, I believe Brenda, a few other of my managers have also, to make it easier for ourselves for communication with the entire team. It's very, very user-friendly, even for the people that are not IT savvy. They did say that, because I told them it would probably be about 11 teams, they gave us a discounted price, which is about $82 a team for the entire year. If we add recreational, which I told her we probably wouldn't because those features wouldn't be useful for them.
There's no need for it.
Right. When we can get it for free, there's just really no need to add that. I did send out an email to her after we spoke regarding if there was a way to set it up as an automatic payment. I haven't heard back yet. I believe they're 3 hours behind because they're Colorado.
All right.
But as far as the app itself now, if I send you, if I put in there, we're going to Palm Beach Gardens tournament, I put the information in there, how much their portion is for that tournament, it sends you an email with a link to just automatically pay it. Like PayPal, like anything. You just hit, it's just like pay now, and then it goes through, and, you know, we would just set up the account for the competitive, and the money would just automatically go in there. There would be no exchanging hands, no nothing. It would be much easier for Amy as far as she would have complete access to every single team to be able to go in, and she could actually see the deposit right then and there. And know that, okay, that was for this, that was for that team, that was for garden tournament, that was for uniforms, whatever it may be. She'll be able to have that. Also with Team Snap, they did tell us that they have a lot of features where they even will export the entire GOT soccer team right into Team Snap for us. So they can go hand in hand. They can do.
But not eliminate.
No, not eliminate. Eventually, they're saying that it could eventually eliminate because they have had a lot of complaints about GOT soccer.
See, the reason that I lean for GOT soccer, I mean, that's the
Right. It's
like we have to go
that's our
through them
state
anyways or
affiliate-
something.
Our state affiliate's registration source. So we're on the same page instead of having, you know, all these other people link into GOT soccer. You know, we don't need the middleman. We're doing it directly, you know, to
Right.
them.
In the
that
meeting,
sense.
they explained that they're trying to work with GOT soccer as much as
Right.
possible, but they're not
Yeah, they're
working
not
within
going,
that.
they're not
Right.
gonna work with it. Why would they need to? I mean,
Yeah.
they run the show anyways, you know.
They did explain that if we wanted to, Team Snap can do the registrations and then export it right into GOT soccer. It can go either way. So it's all that information's already in there. It wouldn't be like opening up a new account under GOT soccer for that child. It's just
Yeah,
sent
it's like
right
an
through.
export, an Excel export that you can dump in and import it into GOT soccer, and it just flushes everything through.
Well, I wouldn't mind, at least from the financial, you know, standpoint.
It doesn't cost us anything extra to have that set up that way. It's automatically inside of our apps already.
And that's a team by team type of thing. So
Yes, as
every
of right now,
team-
it is team by team, but if it was to get consolidated all into the competitive program, all of the board members would have access to each and every single one of those teams. So if Fernando had a schedule change, he could go into that app, that person, say U12 boys, and change it right then and there.
You know, we can do that in GOT soccer. Fernando just doesn't know how to do that.
But it would save, like, instead of having to send all the emails to everybody, you would have access to it. We even discussed it when we were sitting in the class. He was gonna have one just for all of the managers and coaches and have all the schedule put in there.
Well, why don't we do this then? Because the GOT soccer payment system for the comp program, it looks like it's at least taking us out of the dark ages. And so
Yes.
it's like we've graduated a little bit. Why don't we go ahead and make plans to have the whole Team Snap thing just take over, you know, the payment process for competitive. Again, I don't want anybody touching money. I mean,
Yeah,
just
no,
let
it's
them, they control it. They do, I definitely want the option of an automatic withdrawal somehow. So if you know, if they want to pay a couple of dollars here, a couple of dollars, great, but like, you know, have that option of setting it up on the first of the month, taking it
Right.
out. Because I'd rather take people's money than ask for it.
Right.
I know that sounds horrible, but then it's just very uncomfortable having to ask people for money,
There's a lot of miscommunication.
you know?
You can't even get a hold of some of the parents.
Right.
Well, it's a matter of them actually going in and setting up their payment wallet. That's what we have now. You're
Yeah.
looking for a percentage of people that, I only have about 15% on automatic pay right now.
See, in an ideal world, I mean, that's perfect. But I could also see why people may be weary of putting all their credit card
And that's it,
information
right.
into like a soccer program system. I
Right.
mean, that's,
Well, especially automatic payments,
yeah.
because I'm paying for a gym that I haven't been to in a year and a half. Just saying, I mean, that's what happens.
But now, the automatic payment, I mean, there's only 3 invoices there, like, you know, at this point.
Yeah,
You
but I'm
know,
just saying,
total,
people
there
don't
was
like
6,
that. I mean-
yeah. And then it's like, okay, so then after the season, take it out. What, you know, like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, if they're like really that worried about it.
Yeah. And see, we wouldn't be able to see like their payment. It's their payment. They would have it, they set it up themselves under their own personal account. We would just see the payment going in.
How fast could they have something like that set up?
I could call her, and she's on my heels to be doing it like as of 20 days ago.
Well, explain to her, tell her that we're gonna agree to, joining with them, but the rate has to be reduced to, what did you say, 82?
Yeah, $82
It's gotta go down-
72
Say it'll have to go down to like $70 a team. And, tell them that somebody has, we don't want any of this, conference web crap or whatever like that. Come in person and teach everybody how to do it. And if it's not,
It's
and
already,
if it's
we
not,
already know.
but again, all this payment stuff and everything,
It's-
I just want it so user-friendly that somebody like me could actually go on there and mess around with it.
Well, now, I don't know, that's kind of a stretch.
That's asking a lot.
If they want the business, they'll work with me.
I'll have to go to your house for the
Yeah,
training.
we can set a workshop up
fine.
at the rec center if we need to
Yeah.
go through
Just,
with it.
just so again, everything, I met with, I spent almost 4 hours on a, web conferencing with this, Demisphere, for, a website, and it's awesome. I mean, the thing's amazing what it does and how pretty they can make it look and all that. And I'm like, well, just show me how to put, like, fields are closed. You know what I mean? Or like fields are, like basic things. Oh, yeah, no problem. You just go in here and you do this and this and this and that. I just want to hit a button. That's all I'm looking for. It's field closed, field open.
I want to take one pill and get better. Yep.
Yeah. But,
They do also have that, like they do website. I mean, I'm gonna forward the email to all the board members so they can actually read it. It's quite interesting, all of the things that they actually do, and the cost is minimal per year for it. So,
Well, I say let's tell them if they want the business, let them get their foot in the door by taking care of us with the financial stuff. And if the financial stuff is good, and if they're willing to do, say, the $70, then we could see that they actually want our business, and then we can take it from there and maybe add features on as we go along.
well, it would be all of the features. We get everything, other than the website. I mean, the whole entire, it's all included. It's even more features than we're paying for the $100. And everybody that's already paid out of their pocket would be prorated back.
Well, the paying with the pocket, I don't know why you guys would do that. That should.
Makes
that
our
should-
lives easier.
Yeah, but that should get, and again, not to sound like, like a horrible person, that needs to get spread for the team. Like that 100 gets
know
divided by the number of team
Some
members.
do. I mean,
There's some teams that do that. They have like each kid pay $5 towards it so that,
Nobody should be paying out of their pocket. That's,
Vanessa.
it makes my life easier.
buying them ice
Hard enough
cream
to get the
after
money
every
for them
game.
to pay for the, pay for the club fees. You don't have to
paper.
ask them to pay more.
I learned the hard paying for ice cream after every win, and then the team went like undefeated, and I went broke. I mean, it was crazy. So we don't do the out of the pocket thing
You're gonna do
anymore.
what Sean does. You give him slushies from the concession
That's right.
stand.
Just give them a slushie.
Slushies
If that don't work, give them a T-shirt. I got a box full of them.
Alrighty, awesome. That sounds great. I mean,
And it
let's
would
see
make,
what they can do
it's
for
gonna
us.
really help Amy a lot to not have to go into each
Amy's happy,
individual
I'm
account
happy.
to do it.
Do we need to approve payment of, what's it going to be, about $800 then, $1,000?
Yeah.
Well, let's see what they can come back
Oh, okay.
at, and then we'll address it at the next meeting. Hey, this is what they.
I'll just let her give
this
me all
is
the
what- this
information,
is
get the
what
ball
they
rolling.
suggested.
Okay.
One more account for the
I'm gonna,
board members?
I did it for 11. No, we'll do it for the, like your one that you were
Well, if they
doing,
come up with the
managers,
right
coaches,
price,
and
we
all
should
that.
just be able to move into it right away instead of waiting next month.
Well, if they can get down to the 7.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We can just, if they get
Motion
down
to
to,
accept if they can get down to the $70 per team.
and then we can just, then you can just do it right away.
Yeah, we could.
Okay.
All right, if they get down to the 7.
But because Diego also have it too.
Instead of waiting another month, I mean, then boom, she
Yeah.
can do it, she can start it tomorrow if
Yeah,
they say
I know.
okay.
Like, it would be everybody would.
Unless the
automatically
managers would like to pay
Yeah,
for it out of their
so
own
we would-
pockets.
And none of the
only
teams
8
would
more.
have to like redo it. It's all gonna get put in automatically. It'll just be
How-
switched over and they'll get all the
It'll
new
roll.
features.
Yeah.
Everybody's gonna lose the money already.
Who's gonna lose their money?
No, they
We're
get
gonna
their money back.
They'll get their money back.
Give it your money back?
They're gonna
Not
prorate whatever
full,
we
but,
have
yeah,
used for the
whatever we
year,
haven't
get,
used.
everybody gets it back.
Can you all produce a motion on that?
Motion to go ahead with the
Snap.
Team Snap if they come up
To
with,
$70 a team.
so that would be $770.
I second that.
All in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed? Alrighty.
You don't vote.
So we are gonna go ahead, we're gonna move ahead with, Team Snap as our, for now, our competitive payment process, in the event that they're able to get us at $70 per team. Alrighty, and, tell them that would be good for them to do that, or else, you know, some nasty guy's gonna call and try to weasel them
And
even
if I can get a
further.
training session, I'll have every manager go to that training section so they can see all the features that they're going to be receiving too.
Right. And we're in agreement, this is, though this will not replace GOT soccer in any way with registration, or whatever.
Correct.
And just,
Now.
I want to give an additional thank you to Vanessa over here, and I don't think you guys understand what she deals with. Because I deal with it and I push it to
I
Vanessa.
was gonna say what you make her deal with.
Yeah, well, because it's too much.
It's a lot.
It's too much, and, different leagues require different rosters and
Vanessa can be the
different
mean guy.
ways, and, yeah, different ways of doing things. All right, good. Unlocked goals, which seems to be rearing its ugly head again. And we are trying to do something to prevent Sean from snapping.
Having a heart
Losing his
attack?
hair.
So,
Did you notice how calm I was on this?
so,
I was waiting for the flow.
we have, you guys may have forgotten this, but if you look back in time, we actually did go ahead and make a policy with this, where if the goals were left unlocked, that we would go ahead and we would charge that team $25. So I know there was some talk of $50 today, that might be a little excessive, but 25.
I was thinking 50 was
That
it.
was to replace the lock, no? Or is
Well,
that?
if the locks are lost, then they have to buy a whole new set
It's
of
not
locks.
only just leave the goals.
If Sean had it his way, he would chain a
Missing
coach
locks,
to
missing
a
the
goal.
cables.
Well, whatever's lost, right,
Yeah, whatever is lost.
would have to be replaced.
Yeah,
That
would
was the
have to
other
be
thing I said,
replaced, yeah, that, we,
Teams need to pay for that.
all right, so everybody's good, just to
Is it the team or is it the coach?
Not the team.
the team, and then you know what, the more, and more, because you know what, if the team has to pay for it, the team parents are gonna be more willing to help move the goals and lock them up.
Yep.
I was gonna say, I mean, if you spread it out around the team, what is it, like $2 or $3?
But again,
Because you will-
but if it's
if
on the
the
coach
game-
and I don't like the coach, man, the heck with it, leave it unlocked, man, let the coach get, fined, who cares?
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
so,
it is ultimately the coach's responsibility, so I would think the coach needs to be.
well, I'm gonna say it's not the coach's responsibility, it's the team's responsibility. And so it's important that the managers and the coaches convey that to the team, that it's the team's responsibility to move the goals around.
Yeah, but sometimes it's the goals get moved, but the coach only has the key.
And he didn't lock them,
Yeah.
like Saturday. The goals from Field 7 were moved over next to each other very nicely.
Saturday on 7, who was on?
No, from Friday night.
Yeah, that was,
Okay,
That
so
was-
they were moved over. No, from Field 7, not Field 8. We talked about Field 8 already.
it was me.
And they were moved together, but they weren't locked, which is useless.
That's it, U14s.
Yeah.
That was, yeah.
Put your hand down, put your hand down.
First $25 goes over there.
All righty, so moving forward, and what I'll do is, I'll send a reminder out to the coaches and
And
managers.
just so everybody knows why we're doing this, it's the safety of the children. If somebody decides to do a chin up on that goal and pulls it over and it lands on somebody's head, they will be injured severely. There have been 41 deaths from falling goals in this country in the last 30 years. And that's why I'm always jazzed about this, because it's completely avoidable. Okay? That's it. Thank you.
All righty.
Send an email tonight, Sean. Email tonight.
No, Sean will not send that
Do it.
email.
I'm not
I
doing that
will-
again.
I will send that out for Sean. Sean
That was
has
a different
already
hurricane.
shown.
That was
Sean
Hurricane
cannot-
Irma.
has already shown that he can't be trusted with an email of that nature.
You okayed that email.
Yes, I did.
Forward it. It's a text message.
Because I saw how mad it made him. I felt bad for him. He got so upset. All right, new business. I guess this would fall under the Vanessa category also. If you can, let's get in the habit where, similar to how I'm having monthly coaches meetings for competitive. How about we do a monthly managers meeting? I don't care, even if it's, just listen, hear me out. Hear me out. I know, and listen.
This is the most we've had any managers.
Listen,
We
hear
have a
me
camera
out.
pointed at the crowd.
Hear me out. When I say a monthly manager meeting, what it would consist, I don't care if it's 10 minutes long at the concession stand. You know, most of the teams practice on Tuesday, Thursday, have it at Tuesday, Thursday. People are there anyways. You know what I mean? You're there.
Everybody
I'm
that's
there
on the
every
board.
Guys
day.
are there.
We're here.
I know, except for everybody that has a competitive player that's on the board, we don't practice Tuesday, Thursdays.
Is that how it works?
Yes, thanks a
Oh,
lot,
wow, sorry.
DOC.
All right.
Yeah, mhm.
What a guy.
Hey, we only have the field on certain days, sorry. So, without a Wednesday.
So now I'm literally there
on
7 days a
Monday,
week.
Half your
Wednesday, we don't have
board.
field on Wednesday.
Half your board.
Monday, Wednesdays are my practice days.
All righty, so.
Now we
I
know there's
can-
no favoritism.
We're gonna
No,
move on.
none.
We're gonna move on, because I see this, a lot of anger coming my way. So we're gonna head
punt.
into another direction, yeah. 4th down, we're punting. But again, that whole manager thing, I just put a couple things in there. Payments, rosters, team accounts, scheduling, ref fees, just, you guys can, hey, what do you do with this? You can bounce questions around with one another, 10 minutes, just so everybody's on the same page.
Can we do a virtual meeting?
All right.
I'm on a meeting every day on text messaging.
Like, we can do Skype meeting.
All righty, go into
Val
a
needs to do the
t-shirt fundraiser. Gonna have, Corinne is doing this, or
Vanessa. It's the
Right.
Vanessa show.
You're on a roll, Vanessa.
I'm trying to get money for my kids. Okay, so I reached out to Prince Zilla, which is who we met with at the AGM meeting. And we were going to be doing T-shirt fundraising with him and also magnets for the vehicles, which I've handed out a little flyer to everybody so that they have an idea of what they are. He will actually cut out our logo, and it will just be, it's not gonna be just like a square ugly thing. It's gonna be like an actual, just our logo out in the car.
Cool.
Full color. The prices are there. Just depends on how many we want to order. So we could sell it through rec games, a concession, out on games during the weekend, whatever it is, when it's just competitive, parents. If we order 250, they're $2.50 a piece. We could sell them for $6. 50 cents goes back to the club. The other $2.50 goes to the kids
Yeah.
or the team, whatever it may be.
Yeah, and Mike said that shipping, we can send Fernando to pick it up.
Yeah, 'cause he's right down the
works
street
right
from
down
him.
the street. Yep. Yeah, we did that at the AGM.
We're saving on shipping.
Volunteered.
Yeah, we did. Oh, and I volunteered Anna too.
Oh, yes, and then we volunteered Anna. Wait, let me get to it. Hold on. Okay, so for the T-shirt side, let me get my notes.
Anna will be sewing all of the t-shirts.
No, she's got a Cricut machine. She's gonna be
She's
making
gonna
them.
bake. Okay, so the 4 colors I chose, I figured for fundraisers, because a lot of parents would like the pink shirts, was teal, gray or silver, pink, and white. They can be long sleeve, they can be short sleeve. For the short sleeve ones, he's telling me it's gonna be $10 a shirt if we order 100. Logos are included, everything up to front and back, same logo. So he could put the front logo on the corner, and then on the back, the logo between shoulder to shoulder, so everybody could see the big striker thing. There's no decal.
That color.
I'm working on that color.
Sorry, this one right
Yes,
here.
I don't.
No, that's not the one we're
I
talking
like
about.
that.
different.
I like this
That's
color.
I'm
That's Diego.
asking him.
All right.
He still likes the
He's,
color though.
I do like the color too, yes. So he's actually going to give me some samples, which Fernando will be picking up for us when they're ready.
Yes.
So that we can see the
Way to go,
colors
Fernando.
and the way that the print comes out with our logo, full color. It's actually embedded into the shirt, kind of like the ones that we got for the rec, but it's going to be full color. It's not going to bleed through with the same.
All right.
So we could take a look at that.
Any way of doing this, like the embroidered stuff, or is that too?
That's different.
Too expensive.
That's
Too
completely different.
expensive?
But I do have embroidery stuff. I'll talk to you after
All right, all right.
because he likes embroidery.
It's just more,
I
just
know.
more quality.
I know.
Just
So
quality.
But this print that he's saying will last longer than these prints.
Because those
They'll
peel
last-
off.
Yes, those
Yeah.
peel off.
All
These will,
mine are
they will
melted.
never, no matter how many times you wash a shirt, it's not going to come off. It's going to be exactly the way it was printed. So we were thinking selling those shirts for like $20, and each manager for the competitive team, I want, if the team players' parents want to purchase those shirts, I want the proceeds to go straight to the team account, not the actual child. Because I want for the team accounts not to be a negative, so if we have, at the end of the season, which we sometimes do, have non-payments or
Sometimes.
whatever,
We can cover
it,
that
it
with the
can
money.
cover some of it to help that team out to cover the expenses. on that
I
child.
love that, but that's hard, because there's always people that just don't.
I know, but nobody's gonna know about it. Only the managers will know what's in that team account. And then at the end of the year, if they don't have any negativities, then it would go towards equipment fees, a soccer party at the end of the year, tournament, whatever it is, so that they can celebrate the end of their season. That's what I always did with my teams. So at the end of the season, I don't ever have a negative. Ever. I always have money left over to be able to use for my team.
No, that's great. What I'm saying is, by doing it, there's gotta be a way to do it where somebody isn't getting a free ride.
No, I know.
Because there's gonna be kids that don't participate at all, and then other kids that are gonna be generating all the money for the team.
Well, nobody would be generating the money for this team. It would be just me.
Well, who's selling them?
The parents are
Or who's
purchasing
buying
it
them?
from us, from the club. They don't
Basically,
know.
we're just selling the T-shirts, and we're
Yeah.
gonna do with the money what we see fit, which
Correct.
is to help out any team that's short.
So we distribute it,
Correct.
so it's not for a team-by-team thing then?
If that, say, my team orders 20 shirts at $20 a piece, the proceeds from that, other than whatever the club is going to be paid back for the shirts and whatever, let's say it would give $1 back to the club just for expense-wise, those $9 will go into the team account of that team that ordered those shirts.
Oh, well, okay.
All right,
But it's a team account. It will not go
Not
towards
for-
any
not for
child.
players,
Right, only in the team account itself.
to help any future.
Tournaments, soccer party, help with the negativity at
Some
the
kids
end.
might get a free ride, so if you don't
Yeah,
sell any,
that's what I'm saying. It's like,
but that's,
It could go for rec fees, for league season,
league season.
yeah, it could be, I mean, whatever it is that the team is going to need, instead of having to always ask the parents for the money.
well, plus people want the shirts. I mean, that's
Right,
the
and the
other
people
thing.
want the shirts, so, I mean, they don't know that that's gonna be going into there.
I've had a couple of parents ask for,
I have too.
the polo shirts even, like that
I mean, I could do the polo shirts. I mean, Adidas is gonna be more expensive.
No, just what was it, what were we
I got
wearing
the
other
Sport
day?
Tech for my U17 teams.
The last one that you have?
I love that score one.
I do love the
Thank
score
you,
one.
Fernando.
Love the score one. Was that you? That's great. That was great, Fernando, for real. That's really nice. Really
Yeah,
nice.
Fernando saw it on the rack and goes, I like that. That's, was his big contribution.
We picked the color.
I like this style.
All righty,
Oh, wait, and both for the Anna,
Okay, and then for Anna, so she can make a little money. If any of the, like, say, I want mine personalized to say soccer mom, then on the front where our logo is on the side, she could cricket it, say soccer mom, or dad, soccer dad. So whatever her expense would be to pay her, plus whatever it is. Like an additional fee for customizing.
yeah, I had a parent this past weekend ask me for soccer dad shirts. So if they wanted something like that, we can take the shirt for an extra fee and get it put on for them.
If you guys want, why don't you take all those shirts that are already there, the black ones, and
put
sell
that
them.
stuff, yeah, do
Sell them
something.
towards this now, because they're just sitting there. Like I said, I wanted to practically give them away, because they've been in there for years.
Yeah, a couple of years.
No, Ally bought them.
Yeah. It's been a while. The ones on the refrigerator, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
so take those.
Just let me
and
know which ones. I don't know which ones they are.
I'll give them to you Saturday.
Okay. I'll be there.
Sell them up and use them up for the competitive. That'd be cool.
Okay, all right. And then if it's a good sale, I want to be able to sell them during the rec season and stuff for rec players, rec parents. I mean, because it could be for anybody. It doesn't have to be necessarily just for competitive.
We're selling a tournament.
We could sell it at a tournament, absolutely. I mean, and it's going to be a variety of colors so people can choose.
We go to the tournament, we sell it.
Like men can wear white. It's that style,
The sport tech.
that sport tech, that nice soft light You know, can wear it in the sun, it's not gonna suffocate you. So,
All right.
So how much we gonna have to front?
that's the only thing I need to know is how many you want me to put in order for.
Let me ask you, you have 4 different colors. So when you pick one amount of t-shirts.
You can, as many colors as you want.
Oh, okay.
Why don't you have the managers get like just a guesstimate pre-order before we start saying how much we're
Oh,
gonna put
listen,
aside for it?
before we do that, why are we not waiting for the samples?
No, I know, but that way I'll work on seeing how many
Okay.
to start what I would need, and
And then
plus
this,
add for
and
whatever
then
it
this
would
way we
be.
don't have a bunch 5 years later sitting on the freezer.
I'll give them away
Every
then.
team is gonna have at least 2.
Oh,
Do we
easily.
have to buy them up front?
Yeah.
Easy.
We're gonna buy them up front,
Yep.
how we've done before, and try to sell.
I mean, we could even do it on sponsorship day, put our tent up and then sell them right then on that day.
Well, we probably won't have them by October
How
5th.
long
will we?
is gonna take it?
I think so, he said it would be
Really?
pretty
Okay,
fast.
Cool.
How long is gonna take it to do this?
He
Well,
said it didn't
sponsor
take
day,
that
why don't
long.
you sell those black t-shirts for sure?
Okay.
Get rid of them. We'll put our tent up and we'll do that part during sponsor.
When I need to go over here? This week?
No, he's gonna let me know.
But then
I
it's
just
gotta
I
get
just was emailing him back. and
How many
forth.
magnets did you want to put in?
Yeah, and magnets too.
How many magnets do you think is sufficient?
I would go with 1,000 magnets, because you can sell them for years.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they'll be good
Okay.
You
for,
know
How
what I
much is
mean?
100?
That's
$1.75 a
That's an
piece.
awful lot, dude. 1,000 magnets.
That's the price for the magnets?
I
or for the
How
misspoke.
many kids are in our club?
Spring and
Depends on how
fall,
many we
1,000.
order.
Okay.
If we order.
That's a lot of magnets.
Every
The
family
mother
has
and
2
the-
cars.
Both parents?
That's a lot of magnets.
We could be selling them. We still had some of these magnets with this logo.
We can do our old, our throwback logos.
You want to just go 500 magnets? I don't, you know, probably, yeah.
What's the
20 cents
difference?
less.
What's it, 20 cents less?
Yeah. It's not huge.
Difference, come on.
What's 20 cents times 500?
Whatever.
2 times 5 is 10.
You're asking at 7:30 at
I
night?
mean, I like looked at it all
$100.
day.
Really?
$100?
20 cents.
Yeah,
Right.
$100, right?
$1,000.
20 cents
times what?
975.
20 times,
And the other one is
20 times 500 is 2,000. It's
100.
100, I told you.
1,750.
Way to go, Sean.
now,
He's a teacher.
if you want
I
500,
teach PE though.
Oh,
if you want 500, it's gonna be 975. And if you want 1,000, it's gonna be 1750.
God, $2,000 for magnets?
$2,000.
All right,
The income potential is on that?
What are you gonna sell them? $50 a piece? I mean, like.
You might
all right,
Oh,
well, you know
$5 a
what?
magnet, it's more than
$5 at
50%
least.
profit.
$5-6 a piece. I mean, that's good quality stuff.
That's more than 50%
You spend
profit.
2,000.
I would sell them for $5 a
Yeah.
pop, but
People can't like
That's
take them off your car and
$5
like, I mean,
well, who's gonna steal it?
Who's
Who's gonna want that magnet off your car? You think some kid from Wellington's gonna go, holy crap, I'm at the mall, I'm gonna steal that? Because I wanna cover my Wellington Wave one with the
all right,
stripers.
okay,
Addition Dermy.
agree on whatever you guys need to agree on that
Do
one.
you wanna not get that many, just dip our toe in and spend more money? Since he's real,
What do you want?
I'm just afraid they're gonna be used as weapons against us or something, like people throwing them at us at the fields and.
Well, that's gonna be only for you. Not for us.
what do you wanna go have it and then just do 500? How much is 500? 500 would be what?
975.
Be almost $1,000.
We'll be saving $200 if we order 1,000 in upfront. If we order 500 2 times,
It's gonna cost
it's a
$100
$200, it's a
a pop.
$200 savings if you
Extra,
order
yeah.
the 1,000.
Mal's
Just
losing
go with
more hair right
500.
now.
Just go with 500.
Okay.
Why would I buy 5,000?
Yeah.
Do they have a
All right, let's
750
check these water
option?
bottles now.
Vanessa, do they have a 750 option?
150.
Agree.
Yeah, you want me to see if they got a 750 offer? Go in between?
Go with 500.
Going once, going twice?
It'll be like a 10-cent difference.
So what's the amount that we're
750.
doing?
Motion that we order
500.
500 magnets for a fundraiser for the competitive program.
I second that.
With the logo that we will sell for the competitive program.
Not this logo, right?
Not the Weston. It's gonna be
Second
hard.
that.
All in favor? Yep.
Yep.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yeah, all in fa- yeah, okay, can we have a motion brought to the
I
table?
thought I just did.
He just did.
Motion to
Okay, wait, a
purchase
second, a
500
second.
magnets for the competitive program to sell
I
as a
second that
fundraiser.
We second
for the
that.
third
All
time.
right, all in
We
favor?
second that. Aye.
All right.
Second that for a third
None
time. Is that making it a
opposed?
sixth?
All righty, we will, motion accepted for, purchase of 500 magnets. And,
Oh, here's a big one.
the donation to the magnet company. All righty. Yes, that's what it's gonna be, you'll see. All righty, on a more serious note
I'm
over
buying
here.
100 myself.
On a more serious,
Just so we,
more serious note here, guys, and this is something you guys don't really deal with, but, you know, this has been going on for a while. Been having some serious issues with regards to poaching the kids in our program. And it's gotten down to the point, and it's gotten to a level where we're not going to be around much longer if we make it that easy for clubs in the area to come in and do whatever they want to the kids that are registered to play with us. 2 weeks ago, I believe it was, one of the former coaches in our program, which left here on not such good terms after taking quite a bit of the players with that coach. And she is, or whatever, that coach is now employed over at Wellington. And 2 weeks ago, she called one of the U18, one of the U17 players on the phone. And the U17 player put it on speaker, and he was in a car with other players and parents from that team, and basically telling him he needs to leave the club and needs to go over with Wellington. And I'm not sure why it was done. I mean, this kid has been my player since he's 7 years old. I mean, even at the high school, I mean, this is like my son. And like, you honestly think that wasn't gonna get back to me? And this comes about 3 weeks after Wellington, after the freezing time was up, which was August 1st, went into GOT Soccer and imported that same player to their club, transferring him to their club, you know, illegally, or whatever the word is that you want to say. After they were, you know, after I brought it to our registrar's attention, it was miraculously converted back. But at the end of the day, there's a timestamp, which nobody can dispute, nobody can deny that it was done when it shouldn't have been done. Now you throw in to, you know, a coach is blatantly calling a player. And, you know, I don't know how much more evidence, you know, before somebody's gonna stand up to these bigger clubs, but, I'm mulling this over. I'm probably gonna be the one, well, I think as the DOC, I'm gonna be the one that, pursues this, if this is okay with the board, and I will decide whether or not to move forward with it, however, but I'm probably gonna file formal charges against Wellington and, try to get coaches removed from coaching and the club to lose their affiliation with FYSA.
It's unethical.
It's,
I second that.
I mean, so does anybody have a problem with me looking into this,
Not at all.
No.
and doing that? It's, yeah, I've sat here quietly and not wanting to, no, I've sat here, because I could have, let me rephrase that, maybe not quietly. I've sat here, Sean, wow, not quietly, okay, bad choice. I've sat here and not done things that I could have done for the sake of just keeping peace between two neighboring clubs. Then we throw in another club down the road that's done some things, and, it's becoming almost a joke when we produce the players. Other clubs come in here and feel that they can just pull them right from under us, whether it's offering them scholarships or gas cards or rides to practice or candy or whatever the case might be, whatever they're doing. We just played a team on Saturday.
Sunday?
It was a Sunday. Sunday. On Sunday, a different club that has taken 5 kids from one of our teams over the last 2 seasons, and one boy scored the first 3 goals that was with us last season. The kid that scored the 4th goal was one of our kids, and I'm telling the DOC, this is great watching both of my teams play against each other. Because in actuality, that's what it was, but just getting tired of it. And somebody's got to eventually stand up to these big clubs that think that they can do this. And
Well, they can't do it because nobody has stood up.
Well-
So stand up, do it. You got our blessing.
We'll see.
No, seriously, go.
But, so this will be something, and again, I've got a phone call with some of the FYSA people later tonight, and I want to see the exact process and things that are needed to make this formal, and we will see what happens. Needless to say, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. All righty.
Excuse me, could that be a motion so that everyone's in agreement on that?
Yes, in the event that, based on the information that I receive with regards to proceeding with a formal complaint against Wellington Soccer Club, would the board be in agreement with me pursuing that?
Motion to accept.
Second.
the agreement.
Third.
All in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed?
Nope.
All righty. So now I have to say, accepted or approved that if, once I receive that information, if the process to formally file a complaint, appears to be something in our best interest, then I will proceed with that. Is that good?
Yep.
Alrighty.
That's it.
That's you.
All right, motion to adjourn at
Hold on.
7.
Couple things real quick. October 25th and 26th is Fall Fest. So if you guys are interested in setting up a table or anything like that to pass out flyers, start registering for the spring or anything like that, just let me know.
Maybe we can hand out magnets.
See, and T-shirts.
Not handout, we gotta sell them.
We can sell magnets.
25th and 26th.
Are we allowed to sell?
Probably. I'll
Okay.
double check,
All right.
but not food.
No, the magnets that we were ordering, yeah.
No, we would just
The
go.
500 magnets, not the 1,000.
T-shirts.
Well, that's not worth my time.
Hey, we're gonna need, John, we're gonna need another 500 for that day.
Yeah.
And the
we
black
go
t-shirts we
$200
can
then.
bring with us.
And then the other thing is what was the resident rate for this fall season?
110 and 130.
Early and,
130 is a non-resident.
Non-resident.
Early registration is 110, the regular registration is 130. Correct, season.
That's the top. And did you have?
And is everyone on the board aware of the changes that are occurring with the village liaisons?
Kind of. If you guys want to just kind of clarify, I feel saddened with the thought that I believe you will no longer be the liaison for the soccer program. Is that correct?
That's correct. What's happened is that they've, how would you say, reorganized the supervisors so that everyone is covering a different area now. It's like a rotation. And so Steve will be doing a lot of the things that I was doing prior. So he will be the village liaison for the soccer provider group from here on out.
Good thing you're already losing some of your hair there, Steve.
It's high school, it's all right.
And I have to say, all these years, it's been my privilege to work with you all.
You have been fantastic, Cheryl, and we are very grateful for everything you've done for us over the years. I
through
know
some-
since I've been involved with the soccer program, Cheryl's been involved in some capacity with the soccer program also. So, Steve, you've got some big shoes to fill. Okay. All right?
We've been through some ups and downs.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah, thank you, Cheryl, for everything, seriously. I mean,
And I really think that this organization has moved in such a positive direction. And even when the numbers dropped down a little, you all had a plan, you built upon it, you stuck to your plan, and look at where the club is today. Just,
Trying to keep it that way. These other clubs are trying to take our kids.
and
we're like the Pittsburgh Pirates, you know?
and retain the quality too.
All right, well, thank you. Thank you again for everything.
Okay, motion to adjourn at 7:40 PM.
I second that.
Aye.
I want.
Aye.
All right.
All right, now it's 7:41.
All right, approved motion to adjourn is approved at
7:40.